Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Rolka. I want to thank you for checking out my video. Reminder, we're in the new format. I'm going to kind of keep on reminding you of these things for a while, so bear with me in this regard. If you want to just go straight to the singing bit, hover over the timeline, or you can click that thing underneath the play button, or it's like to the right of the play button that has the arrow, and that will give you the different like vocal range designations or FOX. It's also in the description. And you can go straight to the exercises. I am now starting to use this little intro as a brief way to introduce what is going on in the exercises and what their purposes are. So if you want to hear about that, stick around. Otherwise, I hope that you find your FOC successfully. These exercises are the result of a question or comment, I don't remember which was now, came in regarding the lip trill. And in addressing the comment, I got to talking about the lip trill in a way that I often do, which is that it's a great exercise for a lot of things, but we have to transition out of it in order to really make use of what we learn with it in our actual singing voices. That what the lip trill does for us, like any semi-occluded exercise, we don't get the benefits of it when we remove the occlusion. So in this case, it's our lips burbling away. Now you could just as easily do these exercises with a straw as well. I'm just doing a lip trill because that's what I do. That's what I typically like to use, and I find it easy to manipulate and get my hand in and out of my face and all that kind of stuff. If you're using a straw, that will work just fine too. I am focusing primarily on transitional exercises. So some of them start with the lip trill and then remove the lip trill. You'll see in the exercises. They are primarily focused around significant registration events for each individual FOC. So for example, the baritones, we're going to spend time both in the primo and secondo passagios. Tenors, it's almost all on the secondo passaggio and the next registration event beyond that, getting up towards C5. For the altos, we're going to take a look at the middle voice registration event as well as the secondo passaggio. Mezzos, oh you mezzos, mostly the secondo passaggio for you. And sopranos, taking a closer look at the primo passaggio in addition to the secondo passaggio. Now mezzos, if you did want to work on your primo passaggio a little bit, just head on over to the soprano bit. You can do that section too, because it's going to actually cover the area where your primo passaggio typically is as well. And with that, I hope you'll find your FOC and enjoy the exercises. Thank you so much. Hello, baritones. Most of these exercises very modest in tempo. I'm not really going to be going terribly fast. The lava lamp is warmed up. Everyone remain calm. I couldn't remember if I had turned it on soon enough today. So for starters, lip trill releasing into the E vowel sounds like this. Try to keep the air moving. And lip trill, E, lip trill, E, lip trill, E, lip trill, E, E. Now I want to get through a lot of different combinations, so we're going to go back here, and now we're going to do E and A. So it sounds like this. Right there. And E, A, lip trill. Now we're going to hang out in the area of the secondo passaggio in this next exercise. Again, I don't expect that these scales are new to most of you if you've been watching on the channel for any time. But how we're doing them and the way that we're using the lip trill is the significant aspect of this. For starters, lip trill releasing into E. You could just do the lip trill straight off, without doing the release, but let's release into E halfway through the trill. It sounds like this. Try to maintain that airflow and release. Now release to E at the beginning of the trill. Again, we want to maintain that flow of air over the duration of the trill. And finally, switching vowels, E and A. Sounds like this. Finally, an exercise that's going to skip over the secondo passaggio and then come back down. It just gets us into moving back and forth across that registration event. We can begin in this key. Actually, let's begin in this key. So for some of you, this won't even skip over the secondo passaggio. Actually, for most of you, it'll be a good way to get into it. Sounds like this. One more time. baritones. I do hope that helps. Thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. If you haven't yet, I hope that you'll do so now. If you'd like to get these PDFs and possibly MP3s of these exercises, head over to Patreon. All of that can be yours and more. Thanks so much. Bye. Oh, wait. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye. Hello, tenors. We're going to begin here. It's a 5-note scale, twice in a row, release halfway through. I'll show you. All of these scales are going to be fairly moderately paced just to try to facilitate that transition. It's going to be a little bit clunky. Just, remember that the point of this is to try to maintain the consistency of your airflow. Try to notice the space and the feeling of the vocal fold when it has this additional release, and keep it moving into the vowels that we're transitioning into. Right there. Transitioning E into A. Exercise now is going to hang out in the zona de passaggio area a little bit longer. For starters, let's release to E halfway through the trill. Now both of these scale patterns, if you've been watching any of my videos, I'm sure will be familiar, but the idea here is how we're doing them. Lip trill releasing into these vowels, that's the key. while releasing to E at the beginning of the trill. To A. The next exercise is going to skip over the secondo passaggio. It's a fun kind of a thing to do if you ask me. We're going to start here. Sounds like this. It's in two parts. Trying to anticipate the engagement required for the note that's at or above the secondo passaggio. Right there, and may, lip trill, may, lip trill, may, tenors. As always, I do hope that helps. My name's Jeff. Thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. If you haven't yet, I hope you'll do so now. And if you'd like to get these PDFs to practice along with, or MP3s of these lessons, Patreon is the place. You can get all of that and more. Thank you so much again. My name's Jeff. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye. Hello, altos. As I mentioned in the introduction, I don't know if you watched the introduction or not, but if you did, I mentioned that I was going to kind of do this in two parts. So what I'm going to do here is that alto vocalists frequently can have difficulties around the middle voice registration event, and this is the area that's between, G sharp, A sharp, below, like between middle C and high C. That is where the alto range vocalist has a somewhat more significant registration event than other Fox do. The secondo passaggio frequently isn't even developed in the alto or contralto voice, and that's at D5. So I'm going to do these exercises twice in its entirety. I'm going to do all of the middle voice registration event practices first, then we're going to cycle back around to the beginning and do all of the secondo passaggio practices. So hopefully that will help. All right, let's get started. I'm going to show you here, lip trill releasing to E sounds like this. Beginning here, and E, lip trill, E, lip trill, E, lip trill, now E and A, and finally, E into Ah sounds like this. Re, ah. And now we're going to linger in an exercise that lingers around that transition a bit more. For starters, releasing to E halfway through the trill sounds like this. And really keep the air moving through that release of the lip trill. Once again. Beginning here, and release, release, Now we're going to release at the beginning of the trill this time, getting ready for a vowel transition that comes afterwards. It sounds like this. Lip trill with it's got a skip in it, you'll see. And the idea here is to help us anticipate the space and the airflow required when we're skipping up to that note that's at or above the registration event. So in this case, it's going to be the middle voice registration event. Once we cycle back around, it's going to be the secondo passaggio. But anyways. You, however, can begin here. And may. Lip trill. May. Lip trill. Trill. May. Lip trill. May. So altos, I said we're going to cycle back around. We're going to do that now. We're going to now cover all of the areas right by the secondo passaggio, D5. So a lot of this, if you've not worked in this area, if you haven't worked on that registration event, the lip trill is a great way to get started with it. You might just go through all of these exercises only using the lip trill and then working up towards making the transition, you know, going into the vowels. So once again, we're starting with lip trill into E. However, now and E, lip trill, E, lip trill, E, lip trill, E, coming back down, lip trill, E, A. Trill exercise, releasing to E halfway through. And E, E, now releasing to E at the beginning of the trill. Sounds like this. Starting here. And finally, a vowel transition, E to A. And And finally, an exercise that skips over the registration event to get us into the practice of anticipating that kind of engagement in space. It's two parts. It sounds like this. And you can begin here. And lip trill. And there you go, altos. I do hope that helps. Thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. If you haven't yet, I hope that you'll choose to do so now. If you would like the PDFs and MP3s from these exercises, head over to Patreon, where you can get all of that and more. Thank you again. My name's Jeff. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye. Hello, Mezzos. I'm going to dive right in, sorta. I just wanted to mention again, if you want a little extra practice on your primo passaggio, check out the first section of the soprano section of this video. That is where you can find more information on the primo passaggio. In my experience, a lot of mezzos sing right past that, and so I didn't feel like it was necessary in the context of this video. It would be better to put most of our focus on the secondo passaggio. But if that is an area that has proven challenging for you, check out the first half of the soprano section of the video. As I mentioned, we're going to be mostly focusing right on the secondo passaggio. These are transitional exercises, lip trill into vowel. First one. You, however, are an octave higher than that. And now with a vowel transition. And. E into ah. And. Moving on, we're going to do an exercise that lingers in the area of the secondo passaggio a little bit more. Sounds like this. And. Now we're going to release at the beginning of the trill. So very similar, but significantly different, really. This really paves the way for vowel swaps in the middle of the trill. And. finally, E and A. Sounds like this. Finally, in order to sing well in our upper register, we have to be able to anticipate the physical sensations, the space, as well as the engagement for the pitches that we're trying to sing. And so skips can be very useful in that regard. Hence this exercise. Sounds like this. First with a lip trill, then may. We're going to skip right up to the area of your secondo passaggio. Let's begin here. And that's your first pitch. And may. Lip trill. Lip trill. May. Lip trill. Go. As always, I hope that helps. Thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. If you haven't yet, I hope that you'll do so now. If you'd like to get these PDFs, or these sheets as PDFs, I should say, and or MP3s of these lessons for your personal practice, head over to Patreon, where your support is greatly appreciated, and a great thank you to my existing patrons. Thank you. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye. Hello, sopranos! As I mentioned in the introduction, if you watched the introduction, we're going to do your part of these exercises in two parts. The first section is going to cover the primo passaggio, because frequently that can be the culprit that provides challenges. And then we'll get on to the secondo passaggio in the second part of this. Feel free to sample from both or skip around as necessary, but a few questions have come in recently about the primo passaggio for the soprano Fach, and it seemed to me like this would be a good time to cover that. We are beginning with the lip trill transitioning into the E vowel. However, in your exercises, these initial ones are going to descend instead of ascend, because we're going to start in the middle voice registration, like in the middle voice, and then work our way down. Sounds like this, though. beginning here, and. Now E and A sounds like this. And. And ah. And. Now a trill exercise. It's got a trill at the bottom and the top. Sounds like this. Start there. And. Switching to the E vowel after the trill at the top sounds like this. Right there. And. E into A on the descending part of the exercise. Sounds like this. So we'll slow down a little bit to accommodate that change. And E, A, Finally, we're going to do an arpeggio down an octave, crossing the primo passaggio. So it sounds like this. I'll show you here, in fact. Think about about being bright and light and bright as you make that descent. One more time. Beginning here, sopranos. And E. And last one. Now for the secondo passaggio. Again, we're going to start off with this lip trill into E. Sounds like this. Except now, start there. And E into A. And E and Ah. Re, ah. And working some trills up there. First one releases to E halfway through, sounds like this. Starting here, and E. E at the beginning of the trill this time, and sounds like that, and E, and A. Sounds like this. Finally, an exercise that skips over the secondo passaggio in an effort to help us practice anticipating the airflow and space required for those pitches. It's in scale and skip in 2 parts. Sounds like this. You, however, can begin here. And May, lip trill, May, And there you go. As always, I hope that helps. My name is Jeff. Thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. If you haven't yet, I hope that you'll do so now. There are lots of ways to support my channel. Those are in the description. They do include Patreon, where you can get these lessons as MP3s and get these little guides that I write up to make it easy to follow along with the practices. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Jeff. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.